Hey, Kevin, Jed appears to have been really solid so far for you guys. Are you excited to see how he competes and fares against a defensive line as talented as the one you're facing Sunday? Do you think you can learn a little bit more about him?
Yeah, Jake, I think we're learning about all of our rookies every rep they're getting. And Jed's somebody that he's going to get incrementally better each week is the hope, just like we hope for our offense, just to learn from each one of our reps. And, playing in this league, there's no easy outs, man. There are some really good defensive lines that he's going to face, that our offensive line's going to face. And obviously this week, a team coming in here with 5 first-round picks on the defensive line is really a big challenge for our whole team.
Scott Patrick, your line is open.
Hey, Kevin, I think you referred to Terry McLaurin as a game changer or game breaker yesterday. Just what makes him so good, and do they move him around, or is he mostly in the slot?
Yeah, they'll move him around, but he does everything well. I mean, he separates from people. He's good with the ball in his hands, makes contested catches. He's very, very dynamic.
Thanks.
Nate Ulrich, you'll have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, obviously with you guys being committed to social justice as an organization yesterday seems like something to ask about with the grand jury's decision, the Breonna Taylor case, and we talked to Jarvis Landry and Joel Batonio about it a little bit. How are you handling it now that you're in season? I know it's important to you. Is it something you are going to discuss? I know that you guys are so focused on game week traditionally, but how do you also address and discuss these important matters that are going on in the world?
Nate, like we've been talking about since the spring, we want to affect positive change, and we're starting in our community. And I think our players, our social justice committee, and all of the players have shown to make sure that they want to help. And to that end, we met with Chief Williams this week on Zoom, Councilman Zone, just to get a dialogue about our community and what we can do to help. So that's definitely something that's always going to be on our players' minds, and see ways that we can affect positive change.
Thank you, Nate. Daryl Ryder has our next question.
Hey, Coach, we obviously talked to Mike Prefer about his unit today, and I just wanted to kind of get your perspective as the head coach. Almost allowing 38 yards per kickoff return, I think around 13 on punts. Are you dedicating any extra time during practice trying to give that unit some extra time together to get them jump-started a little bit or anything?
Yeah, Daryl, we're very aware that we have to do better there. There's some things that we can do schematically. There's some things that we can do personnel-wise. And we need to do it. And I think we have the people to do that.
Thank you, Daryl. Tony Grossi, you're up.
Kevin, yesterday, Baker, in talking about the good offensive game against Cincinnati, talked about the importance of executing that first 15 plays, coming out and really doing well on those. I want to ask you, in terms of the task of creating a game plan week to week, how important are those 15 plays or whatever number there is? And when do you decide on them? Is it Saturday when you come up with them?
It's a good question, Tony. I think for us, at least our process is I work on that Friday afternoon with a ton of input from the coaches and from the quarterback. I think a lot of emphasis gets put on those first 15 plays externally. We're just as diligent about worrying about the final 15 plays or the middle 15 plays. So we want to operate throughout. A lot of times in those openers, you're trying to see how a defense is going to play you. You're going to show them one formation. So I think we just got to make sure that we're clean operators throughout the 60 minutes as opposed to just concerning ourselves with those first 15 plays.
And in terms of just getting a lead early in the game, how important do you consider that in managing a game?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's the NFL. You'd love to jump out and get a lead and protect that lead if you can. These teams are really good, so both teams are trying to do that. And sometimes the game's in the balance into the 60th minute, and then sometimes you have success early. So you just got to play the game as it unfolds.
Fred Greetham, your line is open.
Hey, Coach, a little out of the box question. I was just wondering, with the big leg Jay McGillen had in college, he kicked. Is any thought about trying him as the kickoff guy?
I'll leave all those conversations between Preef and myself, Fred. But just in terms of all roster-related decisions or all schematic decisions, we talk about it all.
Scott Petrick will go to you.
Hey, Kevin, how good has Larry Ogunjobi been through these first 2 games, and what do you like most about him?
Larry plays really hard. He practices hard. He plays hard. It's important to him. I think he's got a great combination of power and quickness. He's somebody that we rely on. He's one of the leaders of the football team. So he has played well, and we're relying on him this week as well.
Jeff Shadell, you're up.
I'm asking about Austin Hooper. 2 catches each of the first 2 games. What have you seen from him, and will there be chances for him to get the ball more as the season goes on here?
Yes, I think there will always be more chances to get the ball. But if you look at any of our success we've had the first 2 ball games, 81 is typically heavily involved in that success, whether he's catching the ball or not. But I do know that opportunities in the pass game, they come one week, the next week maybe they're not there, but it's really kind of, judge it after a few games more than 2.
Daryl Ryder will have our next question.
Hey, I wanted to go back to the run-pass ratio. Admittedly, externally, we always obsess over that type of thing. I think against Cincinnati in the first half, you were like right down the middle, 14 runs, 14 passes. When you're calling a game, how cognizant of that are you? Are you aware of your balance, or are you just so zeroed in on calling plays that you're focused on hot hand, what's working, what's not working? I'm just kind of curious, as a coach who calls plays, how much you think of run pass balance.
Yeah, Daryl, we got some great coaches during the game that help me out. Particularly the guys up in the booth are giving me our tendencies on first and second down and by personnel and all of that. So I think balance doesn't have to mean 50-50 like we've talked about before. If we're 50-50, that's kind of the nature of how it went. But as long as you have the threat of the run and the pass for a 60-minute game, ultimately that's what you're looking for.
Mary Kay Cabot, your line is open.
Hey, Coach, will Olivier and Adrian practice today? And also, what kind of a start did you feel like Adrian got out to in that game?
Yeah, Mary Kay, we'll do the same thing we did tomorrow with those guys. So we'll be working on the side. Adrian, that was fun to see him out there early in the game. It was unfortunate that he got injured there, but you kind of see what he's done in his career and what he's capable of affecting the pass game.
Thank you.
We'll take 2 more, Tony Grossi and then Tom Withers.
All right. Joel Bitonio mentioned that he had seen both Baltimore and Cincinnati use a 5-man front on occasion during the game. Is this becoming more prevalent, number one? And 2, do you think that as Chubb and Hunt continue to have success, you'll see more of that?
I think the 5-man front, I should say, has been around for a while. I think a lot of teams like to play that bear front or Navajo jam, whatever they call it, where they want to cover up the center and the 2 guards. So I think that's kind of been around for a while. Some people see it as a run-stopping front. Some people see it as a pass-rushing front where they get 5 one-on-ones potentially. But I think we've faced some teams already this season. We're going to face one this week. I'm sure down the line here where they're going to play multiple fronts. They're going to be in different looks, and that's what's so important for us offensively, to communicate both on the field and then when we get to the sideline, look at these fronts and have some conversations about how we're picking things up in the pass game and how we're blocking it in the run game.
Thanks.
Close things out. We'll go back to Tom Withers.
Thanks, Robbie. I was getting nervous for a second there. Hey, Kevin, maybe we made too much of Jedrick's slide from right to left. And yesterday he said the transition maybe was a little easier than he thought. Would you agree with that? Did it go better than you thought it would?
Tom, I don't know if I want to comment on it. He's played 2 games.
Right.
So with any of the rookies, I just don't know if it's fair yet to say one way or the other on these guys. I think Jed in particular, he's doing a nice job, and we're 2 games into it, and we understand that there's going to be some mistakes that he makes. There's going to be some bad play calls that I make. I'm a rookie too, so we understand that we're not going to make some proclamations after 2 weeks.
And that's exactly what my follow-up was going to be. Joel said before that as guys build tape, it's kind of an adjustment game. Is that what it is? Is it like a minor league player coming up to the majors and you got to match up with the pitcher and adjust?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is, and that's where, we're fortunate to have some really good coaches on this staff that can work with these rookies and understand that the look is going to change. You're going to go up against different players. The technique has to get better week in and week out, and that's where I give our coaches and the players a ton of credit.